Welcome to today's episode. Have you ever wondered what it truly takes to live a fulfilled and courageous life? What if the difference between hesitation and action is just 5 seconds? Today, we're diving into The 5-Second Rule by Mel Robbins, a life-changing book that teaches a simple but powerful method to break procrastination, overcome fear, and take control of your decisions. The moment you feel the instinct to act on something, whether it's getting out of bed, speaking up, starting a project, or making a decision, you have a very small window of time to move. If you don't act within 5 seconds, your brain begins to interfere. It starts to create excuses, rationalizations, and doubts, all designed to keep you safe and comfortable. While this mechanism is meant to protect you, it often ends up holding you back from growth and progress. This is where the 5-second rule comes in. The concept is simple. When you feel the impulse to act, count backward from 5 to 1 and then move immediately. This countdown interrupts your habitual thinking patterns and shifts your focus from hesitation to action. It gives you a way to override fear, doubt, and procrastination before they take control. Mel Robbins discovered this rule during one of the most challenging periods of her life. She was facing financial struggles, a declining career, and a deep sense of frustration. Every morning felt like a battle, and even small tasks seemed overwhelming. One night, while watching a rocket launch countdown on television, she had a simple but transformative idea. Instead of waiting to feel motivated, she would count down like a rocket launch and force herself to act. The next morning, instead of hitting the snooze button, she counted backward and got out of bed. That small action became the first step toward rebuilding her life. As she continued to apply this rule, she noticed that it worked in many areas of her life. It helped her make decisions faster, stop overthinking, and take action even when she didn't feel ready. Over time, this consistent action began to build confidence. She realized that confidence is not something you wait for. It is something you create through action. Every time you push yourself to act within those 5 seconds, you are proving to yourself that you are capable, disciplined, and in control. The effectiveness of the rule is also supported by how the brain works. When you count backward, you disrupt your automatic thought patterns and engage the prefrontal cortex, the part of the brain responsible for decision-making and self-control. This shift allows you to move from a reactive state, driven by fear and habit, to a proactive state, where you take intentional action. In other words, you move from being controlled by your mind to taking control of it. Another important aspect of the rule is that it helps you build a habit of courage. Each time you act despite hesitation, you strengthen your ability to face discomfort and uncertainty. Over time, what once felt difficult becomes easier, and what once seemed impossible becomes achievable. This is how small actions, repeated consistently, lead to significant changes in your life. You don't need more time, more motivation, or better circumstances to begin. What you need is the ability to act in the moment. The 5-second rule gives you a practical tool to break the cycle of hesitation, overcome fear, and start moving forward. It reminds you that change doesn't happen when you think about it. It happens when you act. And sometimes, all it takes to change your life is 5 seconds. Real change doesn't require big, dramatic moments. It requires everyday courage, the kind of courage that shows up in small decisions, quiet moments, and simple actions that most people avoid. Courage is not something reserved for extraordinary situations. It's something you practice daily. It's the decision to speak up when you're nervous, to start something when you feel unprepared, or to take a step forward even when you're uncertain. These small acts of courage may seem insignificant, but over time, they shape your identity and determine your future. Many people delay action because they believe they need the right mood, the right timing, or more confidence. But the truth is, those conditions rarely come. Waiting becomes a habit, and that habit keeps you stuck. Robbins emphasizes that if you keep waiting, nothing changes. Action must come first. Everything else follows. She also highlights a critical reality. You will never feel like it. You won't feel like waking up early, exercising, starting a difficult task, or having an uncomfortable conversation. Feelings are unreliable when it comes to growth. If you depend on motivation, you will often do nothing. Successful people understand this and act anyway. They don't wait to feel ready, they move despite resistance. This is exactly where the 5-second rule becomes powerful. It gives you a simple tool to bypass your emotions and take control of your actions. Instead of debating or overthinking, you count backward: 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and move. This interrupts hesitation and helps you take immediate action before your mind creates excuses. It begins with awareness, recognizing the moments when you hesitate or hold back. Then, instead of pausing, you use the countdown and physically move. It could be something as small as standing up, making a call, or starting a task. The key is to act quickly and consistently. As you begin to use the rule, you start to notice a shift. You become more decisive, more confident, and more in control of your behavior. You stop overthinking and start doing. And over time, these small actions build momentum, leading to bigger changes in your habits, mindset, and results. Courage is not about being fearless. It's about taking action despite fear. You don't need to wait for the perfect moment, because it doesn't exist. The only moment you have is now. And if you want to change your life, you have to stop waiting and start acting. Productivity is not about managing time. It's about managing your decisions in the moment. One of the first areas she highlights is health. Many people know what they should do: wake up early, exercise, eat better, but they struggle to follow through. The problem is not a lack of knowledge, it's hesitation. The moment the alarm goes off, or the moment you think about working out, your brain starts offering excuses. By using the 5-second rule, you interrupt that pattern and act immediately. Over time, these small actions create healthier habits and a stronger sense of discipline. The second major focus is increasing productivity. Most people lose time not because they are busy, but because they hesitate, overthink, and delay starting tasks. The hardest part of any task is often just beginning. By counting down and taking immediate action, you eliminate the mental resistance that keeps you stuck. This allows you to start faster, stay focused, and complete tasks more efficiently. Another important point is that the rule helps you make better decisions throughout the day. Instead of getting lost in distractions or procrastination, you train yourself to act on priorities. Each time you use the rule, you reinforce a habit of action, which leads to greater consistency and better results over time. Procrastination is not a time management problem. It is an emotional one. It comes from avoiding discomfort, fear, or uncertainty. The 5-second rule helps you push through those feelings by shifting your focus from emotion to action. Instead of waiting to feel ready, you act despite resistance. As you continue to apply the rule, you begin to notice a powerful shift. You stop waiting, you stop overthinking, and you start doing. Your confidence grows because you trust yourself to take action, even when it's uncomfortable. This creates momentum, and momentum is what drives productivity and success. Becoming productive is not about working harder. It's about acting faster and more consistently. When you learn to take control of your decisions in the moment, you unlock your ability to perform at a higher level in every area of your life. She emphasizes that the way we respond to fear, anxiety, and worry directly shapes our mental state, emotional health, and overall quality of life. The central idea is that happiness is not something that happens to you. It is something you actively choose by taking courageous action in everyday moments. Robbins explains that worry is often disguised as planning or preparation, but in reality, it is a form of procrastination. When we worry, we focus on hypothetical problems instead of taking concrete steps to solve real ones. This endless cycle creates stress, self-doubt, and emotional paralysis. The 5-second rule interrupts this pattern by giving you a tool to act immediately. The moment your mind starts spinning, counting backward from 5 to 1 breaks the chain of negative thinking and redirects your energy toward productive action. Robbins addresses anxiety, which she describes as the mind's response to uncertainty and fear of the unknown. Anxiety often convinces people to avoid challenges or delay decisions, and it can feel overwhelming because it is not always logical. Using the 5-second rule allows you to confront anxiety head-on. By acting before your brain convinces you to retreat, you create a feedback loop of control and confidence. Every time you act despite anxious thoughts, you reinforce the belief that you are capable of handling discomfort and uncertainty. Fear is universal and unavoidable, but it does not have to control your life. Fear keeps you in your comfort zone, prevents growth, and limits your potential. Courage, she argues, is not the absence of fear. It is acting despite it. Every time you count down 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and push yourself forward, you expand your comfort zone, gain confidence, and prove to yourself that fear is not stronger than your will to act. Over time, this builds resilience, inner strength, and a habit of bravery. Small acts of bravery may seem insignificant, but over days, weeks, and months, they add up to profound changes in mindset and life outcomes. She emphasizes that happiness comes from consistently choosing courage over avoidance. By stopping worrying, managing anxiety, and facing fears through immediate action, you create momentum that makes it easier to tackle larger challenges. Recognize moments of hesitation, notice when fear or worry arises, and use the 5-second rule to move before your brain can create excuses. This repetition rewires your habits, strengthens self-trust, and allows you to experience freedom and joy, even in situations that would normally cause stress. Happiness is an active choice. You cannot wait to feel ready, fearless, or motivated. You must act first, and through action, you develop courage, confidence, and emotional resilience. Each brave action you take rewires your brain, changes your mindset, and brings you closer to becoming the happiest, most fulfilled version of yourself. You don't have to wait to feel ready or fearless. The only moment you truly have is now, and the 5-second rule is your tool to take charge of it. By facing fear, ending worry, and confronting anxiety, you unlock your potential and take the first step toward lasting happiness. She emphasizes that living a full, meaningful life requires more than skill, knowledge, or opportunity. It requires courage to act consistently on your goals, values, and relationships. Confidence is not something you are born with, or something that magically appears when circumstances are perfect. Real confidence is developed through action. Each time you step out of your comfort zone, face fear, or make a decision despite hesitation, you strengthen your self-trust. The 5-second rule is the tool that allows you to take those brave steps. Counting down 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 before acting interrupts hesitation, moves you forward, and gradually builds authentic confidence that doesn't depend on others' approval or external circumstances. Many people delay chasing what they love because of fear, self-doubt, or the idea that they must feel ready. The 5-second rule teaches that waiting to feel motivated or perfect is a trap. Passion grows through action. By using the rule to take consistent steps toward your goals, small or large, you create momentum, deepen engagement, and move closer to the life you truly want. Courage becomes the engine that drives purpose and personal satisfaction. Fulfillment is not just about personal achievements. It is also about connection, contribution, and impact. Robbins notes that many people avoid difficult conversations, giving honest feedback, or expressing appreciation out of fear or hesitation. By applying the 5-second rule, you can overcome that fear and act with courage in your relationships. Speaking up, showing vulnerability, and taking initiative strengthens bonds, builds trust, and creates deeper, more meaningful connections. Courage multiplies the impact of your actions. When you act bravely in one area of life, it ripples into others. Building confidence makes pursuing passions easier, which in turn improves your relationships and sense of purpose. Small acts of courage, repeated consistently, create lasting fulfillment. Fulfillment is not a result of waiting, planning, or perfect circumstances. It is the product of courage in action. By using the 5-second rule, you stop hesitation, embrace challenges, and actively design the life you want. Courage becomes the bridge between your potential and your reality, and through it, you can become the most fulfilled person you know. Life rewards those who act, not those who wait. By counting down 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and moving forward, you take control of your confidence, your passions, and your relationships, and in doing so, you unlock true fulfillment. Thank you for joining us on today's episode. Remember, change doesn't come from waiting, planning, or overthinking. It comes from action. The 5-second rule by Mel Robbins gives you a simple, powerful tool to take control of your life, overcome fear, and stop procrastination. Every time you count down 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and move, you're building confidence, courage, and momentum toward the life you truly want. If you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to subscribe and share it with friends who want to take charge of their lives too. Keep acting, keep moving, and keep creating the life you deserve.